Hello everyone and welcome to this rapid Nintendo Direct, if it's happening, predictions. I'm joined with RogersBase. The Nintendo lineup is pretty empty. It's pretty much a desert after Paper Mario, which is probably out by the time you're watching this. And we need a Nintendo Direct.
Yes.
It's been over 300 days. They need to fill it out, and the first thing they need to fill out, that's the Mario 35th Anniversary Collection. And after that Lego Mario thing with the NES Mario, there's pretty much no doubt anymore.
No, I think we are going to get that 64 Sunshine Galaxy collection, whatever it is. Again, I don't know if this is going to be simple ports, if it's going to be a remaster, if it's going to be a remake. I think I'm more anticipating it's going to be something along the lines of remasters with new assets for some of the models in 64 and Sunshine. But on the whole, I think they're going to keep the physics engines of each of those games because they're so distinct. And I just think the games are going to look great in HD. They're three of my favorite Mario games of all time. You guys know this. I love the 3D Mario games far more than the 2D Mario games, and I feel like we already have so much 2D Mario on the system that having a collection of the best is really going to be great. And I feel like because so many people have been talking about this for such a long time, it's got to be a real thing at this point. You know what I mean? It's because it's not just random people online. It's like credible people bringing this up. And with the Lego Mario announcement and everything, it just seems like the time is right. I also think we're probably going to get that Mario 3D World port. I could see them bundling with that with a new Switch model at some point over the next holiday season. And in terms of like other Mario related announcements beyond the collection and the 3D World port, I think we are going to get a Mario spin-off this year, and we both talked about this in other videos. I think Super Mario Party 2 is a no-brainer, right? We already have Mario Tennis. I don't really think they're going to want to do another Mario sports game this year, and Super Mario Party sold so unbelievably well that I cannot imagine they wouldn't want to sort of jump on that again and release a second game, especially considering the first one never even had DLC and remains one of the top 10 best-selling games on the system.
Nintendo's pretty much in a sales modus. They just want to bring out the games that sell the best.
Yeah.
And I think that 3D Mario is a good bet based on all the amazing sales of Super Mario Odyssey.
Yep.
It just shows that people want more 3D Mario, and then, open 3D Mario as well. Just throw in the Galaxy games there as well because of the 10th anniversary of Super Mario Galaxy 2, the last Galaxy game to this point. Bundle them together, $100, 10th anniversary. You got it done.
Boom.
The same goes with Super Mario 64, which is the only thing you need to update there is pretty much the camera. Obviously, the graphics, give it a maybe kind of an HD paint, a proper remaster. And the same goes with Super Mario Sunshine. Maybe add some of the missing missions on Corona Mountain. Then, boom, you got it. Just bring it out for the 35th anniversary in September. Everyone is going to buy that. So many people have not played even the Galaxy games of the younger generation.
Yeah.
Like, remember, it's been 10 years since they came out, so a lot of gamers were not able to play it, and Mario is pretty much appealing to those age groups as well. So I think Nintendo is going to pack this year full of Mario. After Paper Mario, then the collection, 3D World Deluxe, as you mentioned, sequel to Super Mario Party, all games that will sell extremely well. And like Nintendo needs something big. They need to really make this Direct memorable, especially after 300 days of no general Directs, very few reveals in between, both at the Game Awards, then the Nintendo Direct Mini, and what's been saving them this year is Animal Crossing, let's face it. Otherwise it's just been a year of ports and remakes.
Which, to be fair, Animal Crossing's a fantastic game. I love it. I've put 300 hours into it. If they're going to do it with any game, I'm glad it was Animal Crossing, but we definitely need something else.
There will be plenty of updates for that game as well, so we're covering the big three. We think that Nintendo will actually bring up the big three, and obviously the first was Mario, next is Link, and The Legend of Zelda. And since this Direct is rumored for July 2020, you will know that by the time you watch this video or not, if that happened. So July 2020, Zelda 24 2020, HMK still believes it. I am more skeptical, and I think you kind of agree with me, Roger?
Yeah. I don't think there's any possible way we're going to get Breath of the Wild 2 this year, as much as I would love it. But I do think we will get a trailer for the game during this Nintendo Direct. I think I expected a trailer for the game back in March, honestly, when we were doing predictions for that Nintendo Direct Mini, and we didn't get one. And I still think that game is going to be a 2021 title, probably like spring 2021 or maybe fall 2021. Regardless, I think we're going to see a trailer for that. And even if we don't get the release date for Breath of the Wild 2 here, or any like substantial concrete information, I still think there's going to be Zelda stuff in this Direct. We talked about this in the earlier version of this that we recorded. I think Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess ports are for sure going to happen. It's just a matter of when. And the other big thing, too, is I think Skyward Sword, it's sort of up in the air, and if there's any sort of story tie between Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild 2, now might be a good time to re-release it. We don't know what Grezzo's been working on, and most likely, considering they've worked on the other re-releases, remasters, remakes, whatever, of Zelda games, would make sense that they're working on porting over Skyward Sword. So that'd be my other big guess.
True, and I think that Breath of the Wild 2 might get a title reveal because there's no point calling it the sequel to The Legend of Zelda much longer at this point, especially if the game is coming out sometime in 2021. It's good to just get that marketing started and start also, if it's coming out next year, it will be for the 35th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda, which has been the opposing views, Zelda 20 for 2020, or the fact that we will have a Zelda game for the 35th anniversary. I'm leaning more towards the latter than the former. I know HMK is still believing in the former, but I'm just going to say this. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild launching with Nintendo Switch, Link's Awakening launching the same day as Nintendo Switch Lite, Breath of the Wild 2, or title pending, will launch probably with a new Nintendo Switch model, maybe Switch Pro, maybe something else. We just don't know at this point.
I'm going to make a weird prediction. I'm going to make a weird prediction that I didn't bring up last time. I think it will be called Breath of the Wild 2. I think they're going to go Zelda 2.
You think so?
And I think they're going to go along with it because Breath of the Wild has almost even surpassed, like, the Zelda franchise, if you know what I mean. Like, people don't refer to that game. Obviously, some people, when talking about Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, don't say the Legend of Zelda, part of the title either. But the big thing is, like, the way that Breath of the Wild has sort of redefined open world games and the way that people talk about it, and especially considering how well it's sold, I would not be surprised if they want to continue that branding into the next title to make it very clear that this is a continuation.
Yeah, I think that could be a great way of putting it. And it also fits the fact that the story in Breath of the Wild felt incomplete.
Right.
So that's an even better way of putting it. But I just feel like we need a title by the end of 2020, whether it's now a possible later Direct, though I don't really see one anytime soon after this one. And obviously the Game Awards, but I think the Game Awards will be saved maybe for gameplay reveal if they do anything, because they didn't do anything next year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be that. This year we'll probably get just Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD, or at the very best Skyward Sword HD.
Yeah. Well, we talked Mario, we talked Link. Now it's all about Samus, and I think, we discussed this at length during some of the previous Direct predictions too. I think there's no way we see anything Metroid Prime 4 related here, and I also don't really think Metroid Prime Trilogy is going to be coming out this year either. I think they might save that for the beginning part of next year, or like mid next year. There's a lot of rumors about a 2D Metroid game, and while I don't want to get my hopes up, considering Super Metroid's one of my favorite games of all time, those rumors dropped around the same time as Paper Mario, and we ended up getting Paper Mario, and now as the time you're recording this, Origami King is already out, so I think we are going to see whatever that 2D Metroid game, and I am right there with you. I hope and pray that it's going to be Metroid Dread or some type of new Metroid, sort of following on from the story seeds they planted in Samus Returns and continuing on from where we left off in Metroid Fusion.
Yes, that, or obviously Nintendo might think, Super Metroid is very well known, it's one of the most legendary video games ever, creating an entire genre, Metroidvania, and I just feel like they might fall for that temptation, even though most of us probably would prefer just to get Metroid Dread, especially with how Metroid Fusion ended all those years ago. But it's in the dark. I think that it's time for a 2D Metroid. It's been too long, and it's also a perfect fit, giving it this year so that we can get Metroid Prime Trilogy HD next year for the 35th anniversary of Metroid, and then finally getting Metroid Prime 4 in 2022. I think that's the perfect lineup.
Yeah, that gives me goosebumps. I'm thinking about it, and as a Metroid fan, that gets me really, really excited. So I hope you're right.
But that's the big three that I think we will see maybe all three of them in this Direct, because Nintendo needs to fill out those empty gaps.
Yeah.
It can't remain a desert much longer. We know that No More Heroes 3 is probably coming out this year. Suda has been showing pretty much of confidence at this point, even showing off the game at the Devolver Direct, and covering itself for a green screen, obviously.
Yeah.
So that was hilarious. I think that game is coming out this year because of all of those PR stunts. But I also think Bravely Default 2 will be coming out this year, maybe later. I was expecting that to be a summer game. Now I think it's going to be around maybe an October game, maybe not a holiday game, but still. And other than that, I think that we will see some big reveals in this direct.
I do too.
After the Metroid thing, 2D Metroid, I think we're going to see 1, 2, maybe even 3 big Nintendo franchises or established Nintendo franchises get reveals.
Early 2021 just seems like a really good time for the next Kirby game. It's been 3 years since Star Allies. The Kirby developers have been oddly very vocal, saying that the next game that they're working on, they're planning on making it the best ever Kirby game, that they're, planning to redo a couple things and really just make it great. And so I feel like we're going to see whatever that game is during this direct. In terms of other like smaller tier first party franchises too, the other two that we brought up in the previous discussion, one has to be Pikmin. Pikmin has been long in development since the early days back when Switch was NX. Miyamoto said they were working on a 3D Mario game and a Pikmin game. There have been rumblings of a Pikmin 3 Deluxe port, but really everybody wants Pikmin 4. And who knows, maybe it's been in development hell, kind of like Metroid Prime 4, and it's never going to see the light of day. But I think if it is a real thing, I wouldn't actually be surprised to see it announced and released this year. And then the last big one that we also discussed is something Splatoon related. I don't think a Splatoon 3 is coming this year. It might come next year, 4 years since the last one. But I think given the New Year's card that they had, the developers put one out with like the Salmonids talking about 2020 and Save Our Salmons. I think there's some type of Splatoon related announcement that's going to come out this year, either a spin-off or some type of new mainline sequel. And the big reasoning for that is if you look at Nintendo Tokyo, a lot of the really big franchises Nintendo is pushing, you could always see there's a big 4 in terms of merchandising. It's Mario, it's Zelda, it's Animal Crossing, and it is Splatoon. Splatoon statues are right there alongside the other 3, and I think only having 2 games in the franchise isn't really going to cut it for something that they're really pushing alongside those other 3. So I think it's time for either a spin-off or a new game.
And Splatoon is extremely popular. It's probably the most popular shooter in all of Japan. And I think that 4 years is just a perfect gap. Bring us Splatoon 3, maybe get a spin-off this year, and then bring us Splatoon 3 next year. 4 years is perfect, and that can be the big Japanese push next year. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of what Nintendo can reveal this year. Some have been talking about ARMS 2, but I just don't feel that has the same sales potential.
Yeah, and I also don't think they're going to release that this year. I think an ARMS 2 is almost definitely in development. Obviously, they want to make ARMS a franchise. Min-Min's in Smash Bros. Now, but I think that's more of a game for next year. I just don't think it's going to happen now. Though, while we're on the topic of ARMS and Smash Bros., do you think we are going to get a Smash character reveal at the end of this Nintendo Direct?
It's entirely possible, but probably they're going to do the same strategy as they did with DLC Pack 6, and with DLC Pack 7 they might just announce the franchise and then get back to it later on to reveal the character.
Yeah.
So because that creates excitement, and it also may create speculation as to which character is going to be. And that makes it exciting, especially since it's franchises with multiple characters, and then it's like, it could be this one, and people are just arguing it's going to be Springman and Ribbon Girl because it's obviously out of
I kind of do like the franchise thing where then people can guess who the character is going to be, and it also sets the expectation going into the character reveal as well. So
it creates long-term expectations and excitement, and I really think that's a good strategy for Fighter Pass 2. So if they do that, great, and then probably see it come out sometime in November holiday season, because we're going to see 2 to 3 DLC fighters at the most. This last Fighter Pass is going to last until 2022, so there are plenty of time to fill out that Fighter Pass. Nintendo just needs this Direct to fill out as much as possible and just show that the Nintendo Switch, yes, it has games, but it also has a lot of games coming to the system.
Yeah.
And that is the most important thing, because we have been seeing that damn commercial way too much. Nintendo Switch has games, lots of them, but we need to know how many lots of games are coming and not only are on the system. it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a nice mix of games coming out next month or 2 months from now in the case of the 3D Mario collection, and games that are coming a bit later, say early 2021, and then games that are a little bit further away, like maybe Breath of the Wild 2.
But traditionally, every September, we have some type of thing released for the Nintendo Switch Online service, and I think this year's not going to be any different, and I think we're going to get the announcement of that thing during this Nintendo Direct. And I was curious, what system do you think it's going to be? Do you think they're going to do N64? Do you think it's going to be Game Boy, maybe Game Boy Advance? What's your call, Conrad?
I think 64 would be great, and just if they're doing the remaster of Super Mario 64, I think that would be a just perfect way of launching it.
Yeah.
And then also kind of, okay, here's Ocarina of Time, here's... like, the only thing holding them back is Rareware, and maybe they could get something done with Microsoft, like everyone is saying, oh, just bring Rare Replay to the Switch. And I do agree that would be a very good option. But I would just love if Nintendo was able to reach an agreement with Microsoft and Rare to bring them for N64 or Nintendo Switch Online. And I think that could actually work.
Totally. I would love to see Banjo-Kazooie on the N64 Switch Online
limited.
thing.
It's limited. It's not going to be forever. So Microsoft can just think, okay, this is going to last only for as long as the service is operational. And that could actually work. I think that this Direct is going to pack no matter what. They might save that Switch Online stuff for later, depending on when the Direct takes place. If it's July, maybe it's too soon. Maybe they might want to wait to that until, like, we also have Gamescom coming out in August. Even though it's just digital this year, you still have that big opening night with hosted by Jeff Keighley. So thank you so much for pretty much joining me for this, Roger. Where can we find you?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. You can find me at RogersBase on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, and on Instagram. And I guarantee you, if there is going to be a new Nintendo Direct, I will be live reacting to it on my YouTube channel. It's always a pleasure, Conrad. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I think after 300 days of wait, well, 300 plus days of wait, I think everyone else will also want to react to whenever we get this Direct.
Absolutely.
Or if it's right around the corner, then check out our reactions when they go up. And also be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to both of our channels, Commonwealth Realm and RogersBase, and also, maybe even more importantly, press that notification bell, and again, for all notifications, because the YouTube algorithm just works this way now. It's pretty much become the new subscribe button. Anyway, thank you so much for joining, and if you enjoyed this, then go and check out one or both of these two awesome videos.